If you'd like to follow the process of turning a block of wood like this into a guitar like this, then you've come to the right place. And if you would like to see me give this guitar away, click subscribe, hit the bell. Welcome to Let's Build a Guitar. If this is your first time watching, what I do on this channel is I build custom guitars and I'm giving some of them away.
This is just the second one of these I've made. Got a couple more coming up here.
Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you how I bevel the edges on those Horizon guitars, the ones that look a little bit like a Prince Cloud guitar, but they're not. They're a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I bevel those edges. I'm also going to show you how I taper that upper horn. And today you're going to hear about a dad who set out to build his son a box to hold his guitar picks, and ended up with a few guitars by the time he was done, and a new hobby of building guitars. When I clamp up these bodies, I clamp them very, very well. You can see that I've got clamps all the way around the body. What I don't want is I don't want any gap between these two body halves whatsoever. It needs to be tight all the way around. And that comes from both from doing a really good job of making sure that I'm planed well and that my body is good and flat, that it's not warped. Okay, another one done. Now this one is the one that I've already routed, sanded those edges up, routed, and now I'll be doing that with this one as well. So we've got our two bodies that are coming together. This one obviously just a few steps ahead of where this one is at. But the seams, you can obviously see glue along these edges, but the seams seem to be quite tight, very solid. And it'll all be evened up once I sand this all together, so that looks pretty decent. It should look a whole lot like this real soon. I'm going to use 60 grit sandpaper on an orbital sander now to get these edges evened up, smoothed up, cleaned up, get the glue off of there, and get that taken care of. I'll probably run over this with the 60 grit once just to do a little bit of a quick leveling, and then I'll start to do some routing. I'll route these edges. This is a little bit different than that Prince Cloud style guitar. The thin body, these edges are going to be a little bit different. They're still going to be at that angle that you see on the Clouds, but it's a little bit different. The body's going to be just a little bit thicker, and it's going to be rounded just a little bit more, as opposed to such a drastic 45-degree angle. There will be a 45-degree angle, but it'll be more rounded on those edges. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned up. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about the beveled edge. Now this is a solid body, and this is my semi-hollow body. This would be representative of one like what Dave Roussan would do. Now when Dave builds a guitar, he's going to have a 1-inch line. If I go 1 inch here and just put a 1-inch line and kind of hold that where I need to. Well, I'm moving all over the place there. Let's see. There we go. Just give an idea anyway of it. He'll put a 1-inch line all the way around this body, and then on the inside here he's got a little tool that helps him get the line where he needs to be here. And then here, this band that's going to go all the way around the body is going to be 11/16. He uses a rasp and sanding it. I don't know if he uses a router at all. I do. So I've got this 45-degree angle bit, and this bit gets me to almost 3/4 of an inch. We all find ways to do things that work for us, and what I want to point out is that I might do some things that you might think, ingenious, I should do that. And then I'm going to do other things that you're going to think, why on earth is he doing it that way? He's doing it wrong. We all find our ways to make things work for us. This works for me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's different on how I do it. For this thin line, because it's semi-hollow inside, I do not want to come a full inch in, and I don't want to cut that all down. Or what I'm going to do is cut through, and I'm going to end up having a piece in the middle here just drop out because I cut it too close to where it would be, if that makes sense. As I cut this way, there's a spot in here where my wood becomes a 1/4 inch thick, where this part of the wood goes all the way through. When I get down to about right in here at about 3/4 of an inch, now this wood here is only a 1/4 inch thick. So I want to make sure that as I cut it, I'm going to stay away from cutting this too thin, because I don't want to make that, I don't want to make it weak. I don't want it to break. I don't want it to be flimsy. So I'm going to be cutting it just a little bit less. It's going to be a little less beveled, and I'm going to round it more. That's my design that I'm doing with this. So just pointing that out. I am not looking to try and make a copy of the Cloud guitar. I am using the Cloud guitar as a basis for a design that I've changed. I just want to encourage people to do their own thing. Even with Dave Roussan, he copied it off of a Sardonyx bass guitar, but he made changes. And we all kind of work from somebody else's beginning point. We're all really kind of working from Les Paul and Leo Fender's beginning points with the electric guitars, aren't we, if you're going to make an electric guitar? But then even they were working from somebody else who was making acoustics before that. So you kind of learn and you grow. And so there's reason why it's okay to venture out and do your own thing. So I've got my bit set that it's going to cut it in to 5/8 of an inch. Whenever changing out bits, make sure that you're unplugged, because you never want to lose a finger. Just be safe with that. And by the way, I got to be really careful as I come down onto this end as I balance, and it's going to look really funny as I do that, but this is going to give me that 11/16. Well, it's probably not going to be 11/16 on mine here because of the difference of the angle that I'm cutting. But as I come around here, these are going to be real pointed, but I'm going to be sanding them down and tapering this off. And so that'll just help with my cut, and it'll keep my line here straight. I'm not quite to the 5/8 inch mark yet, so I'm making one pass first. I'll come all the way around, and then I'm gonna lower it, make another pass to make that 5/8. I've got my line there so I can see where I need to come to. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That's about how I wanted it to be. That's good. I could do that either with the router. Train's coming. You do that with the router, or I could even just sand it to match it up. Right there. We live close to the train tracks. I am now going to shape and taper this horn. And before I do so, before I shape this, because some of you are going to watch what I do and you're going to think, what on earth is he thinking? What's he doing? And Dave Roussan, if you're watching, this is probably not at all the way you do it. I hope you don't shake your head at me too much, but guys, this is where mathematics comes in real handy. So before I do this side, I did this side already so that you can see that it works and that I kind of know what I'm doing with it. So what I do is I'm going to keep this part of the horn flat. So this part is not tapered. This part is tapered. So it comes down and then I come this way with it. And I leave 1/8 of an inch ridge around here. My consistency of this line here coming this way and that's going to stay the same as what this one is coming this way. And this width here then, these lines, if they stay even because of geometry and mathematics, if that keeps even, then my taper is on a steady incline. I'm going to go ahead, and this is going to look nuts the way I do this. Okay, so that gets me my general taper as I come down and around. You can see this is a lot thinner. And then the next thing that we'll be coming back to do then as I continue to do this is finish out bringing these down so that this distance here will stay the same, but this will now be my line coming down this way. So this will get narrower as it comes in here. As it tapers, that will also taper. This is going to be rounded off around, that'll be round. And then this, I'll be doing some, I'll use my Dremel and chisels. And actually I'll be carving that down right there. This right here will be carved down so that it comes down differently in that area in here. And now here's one of your guitar stories, and it is from Flying V Goodspeed. He says, my skills when it comes to guitars are extremely limited, and what I do know, I learned from my youngest child, who is an adult now. He started playing electric guitar in his teens, and after high school, he went out of it, but back into it this last April. I do lots of tinkering. Sort of an ADHD type person, and part jack of many trades and master of none, if you know what I mean. I've always liked electronic stuff, so I've dabbled in many things, but have been doing some 3D printing in the past few years and tinkered with a do-it-yourself CNC machine. In the fall of 2019, I purchased a decent amateur CNC machine. I had no intention of doing guitars, and my wife was looking for Christmas gifts for my son and came across an engraved guitar pick box on Etsy. Boasting, I said, I can make that on my CNC machine, and that then turned into taking it from a pick box to building an actual guitar. I follow Tim Sway, New Perspectives Music, on YouTube and Instagram, and I ended up buying one of his guitar kits, and that ensued into what I call my poor man's guitar build. Poor man meaning I used cheap eBay necks and used stock 2x12 lumber from my local lumber yard for the guitar bodies. I first started making some small guitar body models just to get the feel of my CNC machine, and then moved on to my first build. I was able to complete it in time for my son's birthday this April and gave it to him as a gift. I took the same from the Etsy guitar pick box and I laser engraved the back of the guitar. It's not perfect, but he enjoyed it, and best of all, got him back to playing guitar again. After that, he asked me about doing a James Hetfield Flying V, and I said I could try. I ended up making him one, but it is an extremely do-it-yourself amateur poor man's version. I had one 2x12 blank left, so I made a third poor man's guitar. I follow Highline Guitars on YouTube, and I bought his Apollyon guitar plans from eguitarplans.com. I guess you could call them my pandemic guitar build, but more suited, I call it a poor man's guitar build. I had fun doing it. I don't even know how to play guitar, but my son does and has coached me along the way, so I've learned lots about the craft. One day I plan to build a real build with real guitar suitable wood. So, you know, I want to just encourage you, wherever you're at in this process, beginner to somebody who's just a master luthier, for those that really like to work with wood, what an enjoyable thing to do. And I just want to encourage those of you who start off, this is how you do it. You just start. And you know, you got the benefit of YouTube and looking up and watching how people do things now. So it's like you got built-in mentors and coaches walking you through how you can do this. You know, you check out a place like Crimson Guitars over in Great Britain and just see the way they do things. And when it comes to guitar building, there's just so much information out there that you can take in and then just get started. Well, Flying V Goodspeed, these are pretty stinking good for some first builds here. If you'd like to share your guitar build story with me, you can look at the notes below and find my email address along with the guidelines for you to submit your story. Also, just want to remind you that some of these guitars I'm going to be giving away. So what I'm looking for are nominations for somebody that you think should be considered as a recipient for one of these guitars. Just send me a quick little bit on why you think they should be nominated to receive one of these guitars. Thanks, guys. New part day coming in. So I'm going to open this up, see what it is. I think I know what this one is, which is what it is. And this is an EMG 85X, which will go in this guitar, and it's going to go in the bridge position 85X. Now the 85X by EMG is usually a neck pickup. I use it down in the bridge. I really like it down there. You can move your different pickups around and put them in both places, and they would sound different because of where they're located on the strings. Now on the Union Jack guitars, I am toying with putting on a Filtron pickup setup for something different. So thinking about that. Maybe you want to chime in on what you think about whether or not I use Filtrons on those British Union Jack flag looking ones. I don't know, there's just something that makes me feel like they should have a Filtron pickup on it. I don't know, that's a gut thing.
Tomorrow, there's no time to buy.